Hey there, YouTube! Before I get into the video, let me remind you, if you like my content, hit that like and subscribe button, and also if you feel the need to support me, hit me up on my Patreon at patreon.com/uncommonramen, capital U, capital R. I do all this in my free time, so any amount of support can help me bring more of this content to you more often. Before I get into the video, I just want to point out that this, even though it has a Fallout commander, is not actually a Fallout deck tech. This commander just happened to be the right fit for the deck, and you'll see as we get into it. So today we're taking a look at Cait, Cage Brawler. This is a Fallout commander that you're not going to see a typical build for, so we're just going to jump in. Alright, Cait, Cage Brawler is a red and a green for a 1/1. As long as it's your turn, Cait, Cage Brawler is indestructible, and whenever Cait attacks, you and defending player each draw a card, then discard a card, and then you put 2+1/+1 counters on Cait if you discarded the card with the highest mana value among those cards or tied for highest. Okay, next up we're going to take a look at creatures. Starting with Goblin and Archomancer, this is a red and a green for a 2/2. Each spell you cast that is red or green costs 1 less to cast. And Stormkiln Artist for 3 and a red, this is a 2/2. Stormkiln Artist gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control, and as Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. Next up is Instants. We have Harrow here for 2 and a green. Sacrifice a land, search a library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Next, we're going to go into sorceries. Alright, so for sorceries we have Cultivate. This is 2 and a green, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, the other into your hand. We have Farseek for 1 and a green, search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. We have Gamble for 1 red, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, discard a card at random, then shuffle. Kodama's Reach for 2 and a green, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Nature's Lore for 1 and a green, search your library for a forest card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Rampant Growth for 1 and a green, search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Reckless Handling for 1 and a red, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle, then discard a card at random. If an artifact card was discarded this way, Reckless Handling deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then Slime Against Humanity for 2 and a green, create a 0/0 green ooze creature token with trample, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is 2 plus the total number of cards you own in exile and in your graveyard that are oozes or are named Slime Against Humanity. A deck may have any number of cards named Slime Against Humanity. So we have 36 copies of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. And then finally we have 3 visits for 1 and a green, search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Next up is going to be artifacts. Starting with Arcane Signet. This costs 2. You can tap it to add 1 mana of your commander's color identity. Emerald Medallion. This costs 2. Green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Gruul Signet. This costs 2. You can tap 1 and tap this to add red and green. Locket of Yesterdays. This costs 1. Spells you play cost 1 less to play for each card with the same name as that spell in your graveyard. Mind Stone for 2. You can tap this for colorless, or you can pay 1, tap and sacrifice this to draw a card. Primal Amulet costs 4. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on Primal Amulet. Then, if there are 4 or more charge counters on it, you may remove those counters and transform it. So we'll look at the transform side real quick here. We have Primal Wellspring. You can tap this to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and when that mana is spent to cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Alright, next up is going to be Soul Ring. Costs 1, you can tap this for 2. We got Spellweaver Helix. This costs 3. It has Imprint. When Spellweaver Helix comes into play, you may remove 2 target sorcery cards in a single graveyard from the game. Whenever a card is played, if it has the same name as one of the imprinted sorcery cards, you may copy the other and play the copy without paying its mana cost. Talisman of Impulse. This costs 2. You can tap it for colorless, or you can tap it for red-green and have Talisman do 1 damage to you. We have Thought Vessel. This costs 2. You have no maximum hand size. You can tap this for colorless. And then we have Thrumming Stone. This costs 5. Spells you cast have Ripple. Sorry, Ripple 4. Alright, next up is going to be Enchantments. Starting with All Will Be 1. This is 3 and 2 red. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be 1 will deal that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. Got Harness the Storm for 2 and a red. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, you may cast target card with the same name as that spell from your graveyard. Nantuko Shrine for 1 and 2 green. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player puts X 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play, where X is the number of cards in all graveyards with the same name as that spell. Pyromancer's Ascension for 1 and a red. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that has the same name as a card in your graveyard, you may put a quest counter on Pyromancer's Ascension. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell while Pyromancer's Ascension has 2 or more quest counters on it, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then finally, we have Warstorm Surge. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Right. Lastly, we have non-basic lands. Starting with Buried Ruin. You can tap this for colorless, or you can pay 2 and tap this to sack it and return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Cinderglade. This is a check land for red-green that has basic land types. Command Tower, which taps for your commander's color identity. Commercial District, which is a surveil land for red-green that has basic land types. Gruul Turf, which is a bounce land for red-green. Karn's Bastion, you can tap this for colorless, or you can pay 4 and tap this to proliferate. Rockfall Vale. This is a check land for red-green. Rogue's Passage, you can tap this for colorless, or you can tap the 4 and tap this to have target creature become unblockable until end of turn. Rootbound Crag, which is a check land for red-green. Sheltered Thicket, which is a cycle land for red-green that has basic land types. Spire Garden, which is a crowd land for red-green. And Stomping Ground, which is a shock land for red-green with basic land types. Alright, finally we're going to look at the basic lands. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 forests, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mountains. So this is going to be the Cait Cage Brawler deck, but as I mentioned before, Cait is only in here because it was the best fit commander for this for a couple of reasons. This is actually a Slime Against Humanity deck. So to kind of go into it a little bit, originally I was running Wart the Raid Mother as the commander, and one of the biggest problems I think this deck runs into is running out of steam. Basically not having card draw to keep the wind in the sails, basically. So Cait kind of does a couple of things here that are really good for this deck. The first thing being that it only costs 2 to cast, whereas Wart costs 6, so if it died, you're paying 8 more to put it in play. Cait only costs 2, and so if it dies, it's much easier to put back into play. Second big thing here is that on your turn, it is indestructible, so you can kind of attack with it with reckless abandon, essentially. One of the big things here is that this trigger allows you to draw a card and discard a card, so you're drawing cards from your deck to help keep your hand kind of supplemented, but at the same time, you're able to discard Slime Against Humanities from your hand to help create more power on the board when you do cast Slime Against Humanity. So I think that Cait the Cage Brawler was the best choice for this. The cards in here are going to include 36 Slime Against Humanity. This goes really well with the Thrumming Stone, with Ripple 4, because if you throw all of this into a hypergeometric calculator, it pretty much guarantees that with Ripple 4 that you're guaranteed to hit at least one Slime Against Humanity every time you ripple. So it's really important that we have such a high density of Slime Against Humanity in here. And there's tons of other strange tech in here. We've got the Spellweaver Helix to help get copies out there, Pyromancer's Ascension for the same reason, Nantuko Shrine to help populate the field with squirrels, as well as having slimes in play, so that we're kind of going for not just a power strategy, but also a swing-wide strategy. We have Harness the Storm in here for copying. Warstorm Surge and All Will Be One is in here to help deal incidental damage that, I mean, honestly could close out a game, especially if you have the Thrumming Stone in play. We have things like the Goblin and Archomancer and the Locket of Yesterdays, even the Emerald Medallion, to help bring down the cost of cards so that you can realistically play multiple cards per turn. The deck with this commander ended up being very consistent. So that is Cait the Cage Brawler, but really Slime Against Humanity. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Keep it positive. I will remove negative comments. And that's it, guys. Until next time. Peace.